Welcome back, crime fighters. It's time for another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, a very special edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the return of John Garlick. We've missed you for the last couple of weeks, John.
I've been away. I've been down to the School Resource Officer Conference with my School Resource Officer guys, and it was great fun. And we were in a really, really tough spot to have a conference. It's just one of those places where there's hardly anything to do but go to the conference every day, and then, in the evening, there's a beach and the Gulf, and that's,
it must have been hard.
It was tough. It was tough.
But, it is great that we are investing in our school resource officers. I mean, that's a program that we are reminded all too often how important they are.
Not only that, I'm glad you brought it up, the Alabama School Resource Officer folks we also house the National Association of School Resource Officers right here in Alabama and Hoover. Mm-hmm. So the National School Resource Officers are here. TASRO, the Alabama Association of School Resource Officers, is huge and looked at as kind of a leader in the programs. So both of those are good things to talk about in Alabama as our school resource officer programs. Excellent stuff. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at what the viewers have done this week.
There you go. The count, they got 2 this week. We're up to 3,116.
Yeah, and that can look a little bit disappointing compared to the numbers that we've been getting here in recent weeks, usually getting 8, 9, 10, sometimes more than that in a week. But when we get 2, that's just a nice reminder of the fact that we have never gone a week without at least one person being arrested out of the lineup. And when we started this show over 10 years ago, we didn't think that would be the case.
Well, and that's right. And the other thing to think about, even if there's 1 or 2, that is a citizen that has taken the initiative to say, you know what, I'm tired of the way things are. I'm going to make a stand. I'm going to do the right thing. And I'm going to let somebody know where this person is that's keeping us unsafe.
And it's also possibly a little bit of a sign of our own success with this show. Since we've had so many people that have been caught here in recent weeks, you get down to, okay, who's going to be on the show this week? And you're looking at people that just are really hard to locate.
Yeah, some of them are very hard to locate. And we always need your help to try and find people. So even if you have just what you think is a little bit of information that you may not think is important, please just give crime officers a call. Let us know what you know, because that may be the missing piece.
All right. And we were talking about school resource officers here a few minutes ago. Right now, of course, John, they're not in the schools very much. We've got the kids out for summer. That means a different set of things that we need to be watching out for.
That's right. The kids are out, so a lot of times you have parents that are working, so the kids are home alone, and they may be bored, and they may be getting themselves in certain kinds of trouble. So you got to supervise your kids, but also you've got those things that they call attractive nuisances, swimming pools and lakes and the parks and stuff, and your kids may be prone to going to those, and so you really got to know where your kids are. You got to be careful. If you own a pool, make sure you have a fence around it. If you're taking your kids to the lake or to the park and there's water around, please make sure you keep an eye on them. We don't want anything bad to happen. So it's a different kinds of risks in the summer. It makes parenting a real tough deal because they're off for a while and the parents are working.
And every family faces different challenges. We're not all in the same situations. The thing is, just take a few minutes to think about, okay, summer's here, routine is changing. What do I need to make sure I do to take care of my kids?
Yeah, and get your kids outside in the sunshine. Get them away from the TV, get them away from the computer screen, get them some books to read, get them outside in the sunshine, and let them enjoy their time. And the worst thing you can do is let the kids sit inside and play those silly games all day long, day in and day out. It just rots their brain.
And pretty soon they'll be hacking your computer.
That's correct.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Congratulations, Sheriff Amerson, John Garlick, and Matthew Wade, my friends, for 10 years of Calhoun County's Most Wanted and over 3,000 arrests. Way to go, guys.
Congratulations, Calhoun County's Most Wanted and Crime Stoppers, for 10 great years. And thank you to the citizens of Calhoun County for putting 3,000 people behind the bars. Yay!
Looking for a new or used vehicle? AOD Federal Credit Union can help. We offer low interest rates and financing terms to work with your budget. We can save you time and money, whether it's at one of our convenient office locations or through one of our participating dealers. Visit an office, call, or head to AODFCU.com to get your best deal now. low auto loan rates, always at AOD Federal Credit Union. Certain restrictions may apply. To obtain additional details and cost information, call 1-800-637-0299 or visit AODFCU.com. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Amazing Grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
A crackhead, drug addict,
alcoholic, meth freak,
a wretch like me.
I once was.
Homeless,
broken, sad,
just lost.
but now I am
sober,
happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
Hi, I'm Katina Houston with Family Links, and this is the Parenting Tip of the Week. In light of recent tragedy in the news, everyone seems to be discussing the dangers of leaving your child in the car. These actions raise serious risks to child car safety, and children have suffocated and died locked up in cars. You may ask, how can a parent forget a child in the car? Most parents will say there's no way that they would forget their dear child in the car. The fact is that the people who forget children in the car are normal. They need not be very old and forgetful, they need not be overstressed, and they need not be sick. People in today's busy world are used to following a fixed routine each day, and anything done out of the routine is prone to be forgotten. So some tips to consider. Treat cars as hazardous. Some child experts believe that parents should treat cars in the same way that they treat swimming pools. The idea is to impress on parents that leaving children in cars intentionally or unintentionally is similar to leaving a child to play alone in or near a swimming pool. Also, leave the diaper bag in front. This is a good suggestion to avoid forgetting the child in the back seat of the car. So each time you put your child in the car, keep the diaper bag next to you on the front seat. You're likely to notice the diaper bag when you get off and will not forget the child in the car. Also, put your purse or bag on the back seat. This is an excellent idea for both mothers and fathers. Put your purse or briefcase on the seat behind, next to the baby seat. You will reach for the bag when you're getting out of the car and surely notice the kid in the car. Lastly, treat the car as an extension of your home. It is a common practice for all of us to check all of the rooms, the switches, the water taps, and the doors before we leave home. This is a routine that we do over and over again, and it gets built into our daily routine. So develop and use the same concept for your car, and it will soon become a habit. When you get out of your car, make sure that the windows are up, the CD player's off. Look in the front and back seats to make sure you've not forgotten anything. Do this on a regular basis, even when the baby's not in the car, and you'll be working towards a safer and happier tomorrow. Remember, nothing can work better than you to save your child from a painful and agonizing end. Incidents like these can be avoided if you give it a thought. For more parenting tips such as this, please contact Family Links at 256-820-5911.
Here we go with the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. If you recognize somebody and know where they can be found, please call Calhoun County Sheriff Larry Amerson at 256-236-6600. Armanda Livingston is first this week. She's from Piedmont, Alabama. She is wanted on a probation revocation for possession and receipt of a controlled substance. James Long of Weaver, he's wanted for third-degree burglary. Kenneth James from Jacksonville, wanted for failure to appear for third-degree burglary. Juliet White of Anniston, wanted for failure to appear for receiving stolen property. Andrana Minifield of Anniston, wanted on bond revocation for prescription drugs, illegal possession, possession of marijuana second degree, and possession and receipt of a controlled substance. Crystal McKinnon of Anniston is wanted on bond revocation for receiving stolen property, first degree. Stevie King of Decatur, Georgia, wanted on a probation violation for 2 counts of possession of a forged instrument. Jonathan Lucas of Anniston is wanted on probation revocation for theft by deception, third degree. If you have any information about anybody that you just saw, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. All right, we'll have the second half of the lineup in just a few minutes, but right now Amanda Watson is joining us from Bradford Health Services. Amanda, good to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you. Thank you for having me.
And you at Bradford, John, of course, extremely familiar with the work that you do.
Yes.
I imagine you two work together on a lot of things, but for the people who are watching that don't know about Bradford, what is Bradford Health Services?
Bradford Health Services, we focus on what we are experts in is substance abuse treatment, also education, community involvement. I'm actually the community rep for Bradford, and I also am a social worker, so I just want to help people. But my role is to get information out about Bradford and the services that we provide. We actually have a lot of free services that we provide, so I'd like people to know about that.
And Amanda's here, she also does a lot of work with Veterans Court. that's going on. So.
And juvenile drug court.
Okay.
Every Tuesday, I attend that. I serve as, I guess you could say, a consultant. We also do consultations with some of the juveniles that come through there and see if potentially they have a substance abuse issue, and if they do, then we address it.
All right, now on substance abuse, one time at camp I snorted a packet of Sweet and Low. Was that be something I needed to come to Bradford for?
How old were you?
I was like 14 or 15.
That explains so
It does, actually.
much.
It does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another piece.
Trying to make it lighthearted, but
Yeah,
this obviously is a very serious issue.
It's very serious.
Actually, at that very same camp, there was somebody that I worked with at that camp, a co-counselor, that later on in life, I didn't touch base with her for about 15 years. All of a sudden, she's in town in a treatment center, and apparently she'd been back and forth in treatment centers and such with some addictions to painkillers. Finally, she has now gotten her life straight for the last couple of years. She's been clean. She's engaged, going to be married in about a month.
What a wonderful testimony.
And, yeah, she's got a great job. She's spending time with her son again. And things are going great. And isn't it awesome to see stories like that? You
It's
must see them on a
wonderful to see
regular
that.
basis.
We do see it on a regular basis. That's what drives me to do what I do, and drives a lot of Bradford's employees to do what they do, and just getting to help people. Even when we're not able to necessarily help one individual, we plant a seed. Whether it be, eventually they'll either say, I do need treatment, or even with their families, we plant a seed. We work with their families closely, and we say, this is our recommendation, and if you can, find some way to support them getting treatment instead of being codependent or enabling them to keep using, then come see us.
It has to get extremely frustrating for the family and friends when they see somebody that they love get into that cycle, and you do so much to help them. You do everything you possibly can.
We actually do everything for them.
And then they fall back off again, and it just repeats and repeats and repeats, and eventually you wonder, should I just wash my hands, move away? How do you handle something like that from a family standpoint?
The most important thing is for the family, like on Monday nights, we provide a free support meeting for families or loved ones of addicts. They don't have to be a patient at Bradford. We offer that Mondays at 5:30, and it really teaches them proper ways of, number one, taking care of themselves. A lot of times they spend so much energy, and that's really what the codependency is, where they spend so much energy trying to take care of or worry about or babysit their loved one that's an addict, that they're neglecting themselves. And so it's really important that they take care of themselves so that they can better support the patient taking care of themselves. So that's really what we encourage each family to do. We encourage the family, even if the patient does decide to get treatment, we encourage them to be a part of that. Typically the family is as sick, if not sicker, than the addict, and that's really hard for them to accept. They want to, control the addiction. They want to try to cure the addiction. And one thing that's really important for families to realize is that sometimes relapse is part of recovery. And that doesn't mean don't have any faith or hope in treatment, but it's a very difficult disease to treat.
It's kind of like learning in school. You may not get it on the first test.
That's right.
But you keep working at it.
That's why I say this, planting those seeds. Statistically, sometimes it takes people on average 3 times in treatment for it to actually stick. Because sometimes they're not getting treatment for the right reason. They're doing it because they were legally mandated, or they were doing it because their family wants them to. When they finally do it for themselves because they just really cannot live the way that they have been living one day longer, then it seems to stick. Consequences have a pretty good impact on people deciding to make a change.
Well, people don't change until they're tired of the way things are.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
We can't just tell them it's time to do it. They've got to do it themselves.
That's correct.
With Bradford, are you dealing with people who say, okay, I've got a problem, I'm going to go to Bradford, or people who say that the court has told them they need to go here, or is it a combination of both?
A little bit of both. Basically, we provide a free service where we offer free consultations to kind of see what level of care someone may need. We do those consultations in our office, and sometimes it's a loved one that has called and made an appointment, or just called and asked questions, and we get some information and set up an appointment. Sometimes we have what's called our emergency consultation service, and that's where we get a phone call from either a physician, nurse, sometimes attorneys. Let's see, sometimes, a lot of times we go in the jail and do consultations and just see what level of care they need, make that recommendation, and then go from there. Sometimes they're not eligible for Bradford, whereas they need more than what we offer, where say they have a dual diagnosis and they have a lot of really severe behavioral issues and they're not stable. Well, then we may refer them somewhere else that they can take care of substance abuse, and it could even be like an eating disorder. So we will still refer them to the appropriate care that they need, or even if they need substance abuse treatment, but for whatever reason they don't have the resources, whether it be financial. Typically, that would be the reason. We also help them navigate getting treatment, whatever is available. We can do state assessments and expedite the whole, transition into a state-funded facility. So we assist with all of that, regardless of what resources they have available to them.
All right. Well, we need to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about what people should be looking out for inside their own home and what they can do in their home, hopefully before things get to the point where they need the professional services. We will be back with the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Congratulations on Calhoun County Most Wanted and Crime Stoppers for 10 years on the air and 3,000 arrests.
Congratulations to Calhoun County's Most Wanted, 10 years on the air, and the Crime Stoppers for their 3,000 arrests. Great job, guys. Keep up the good work.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
A crackhead, drug addict, alcoholic, meth freak, a wretch like me.
I once was.
Homeless.
Broken. Sad.
Just lost.
but now I am
Sober.
Happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
Looking for a new or used vehicle? AOD Federal Credit Union can help. We offer low interest rates and financing terms to work with your budget. We can save you time and money, whether it's at one of our convenient office locations or through one of our participating dealers. Visit an office, call, or head to AODFCU.com to get your best deal now. Low auto loan rates, always at AOD Federal Credit Union. Certain restrictions may apply. To obtain additional details and cost information, call 1-800-637-0299 or visit AODFCU.com. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Here's the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Edward Jones from Anniston is wanted for failure to appear for obstruction of justice using a false ID. Alicia Porter from Anniston wanted for failure to appear for third-degree theft of property. Benjamin Pearson from Anniston wanted for failure to appear for obstructing government operations. Stanley Williams of Anniston wanted for failure to appear for possession of marijuana, second degree. Joseph Schalkel of Oxford wanted for failure to appear for obstructing government operations. Crystal Aguilar of Munford wanted for harassing communications. And Carl McDonald of Anniston wanted for non-payment of child support. He owes just over $20,000. Again, if you have any information about these cases, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. The Crime Stoppers segment of the show coming up in just a few minutes. Also, we'll have our crazy criminal of the week. But right now, Amanda Watson from Bradford Health Services is joining us, and we've been talking about the services that you offer at Bradford. They're helping people deal with their substance abuse issues. Let's try to head things off at the past before it gets to that point. What should people be watching for? And I started to say parents, but really it's not just parents. You need to be looking for your spouse and everybody else in the family. What should we be watching for to see if there might be a problem?
I first want to kind of focus on, Bradford, we also work with adolescents, which is few and far between with treatment facilities. Adolescents, are difficult, but a lot of times that's where it starts. If a adolescent is using, a teen is using, then typically it's a symptom of a deeper family issue is what we see a lot of. There may be a divorce going on. There may be substance abuse issues with the parents. If a parent has a substance abuse issue, their child is, predisposed. They have a 60%. They're 60% more likely to have a substance abuse issue if their parent has one. Those are really, really, really high, odds, basically.
And John, a great incentive for adults to try to deal with their issues before their kids see them and are affected by them.
Absolutely. Be responsible adults. Be responsible parents. Have kids. It's time to grow up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. Kids are hard.
So what are some of the things to look out for in the home?
Looking out for in the home, a lot of times it's really someone's behavior and their appearance. If you notice that a person, whether they be adolescent, adult, has an extreme change in their appearance, whether dramatic weight loss, dramatic weight gain, with opiates, we see a lot of, if their pupils never enlarge, if they stay really tiny, no matter how dark the room they're in, there's probably an opiate involved, Lortab, OxyContin, heroin. Heroin's back on the rise. So, and they're younger and younger, IV use, we're seeing it in high school. So it's extremely scary. But a lot of just isolation. Isolation is a sign that there's something going on. Unaccounted for time.
Doesn't every teenager do some isolation?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a 13-year-old in the house. He loves to just stay in his bedroom. Should I be worried about that?
I mean, if you are worried, then I think that that's normal as a parent. But if you really are questioning, typically our instinct is correct. We know if something's off with our kid. We know if something's off with a family member. We know sometimes we want to deny it.
As long as we're honest with ourselves.
Yeah, as long as we're honest with ourselves. We know if there's something off. And, if you're questioning something, they do sell, drug tests in drugstores. I mean, and you can see, is there something going on? What we see a lot of, the second most used drug right now is actually the synthetic marijuana spice. And that's in adolescents. That's the second most used drug, which is, causing brain damage in these kids.
I think the most angry I ever got at my parents when I was growing up was they thought that I was smoking pot. I've never done drugs my entire life other than when I was at a Pink Floyd concert, and if you breathed, you were breathing it in.
It was secondhand.
But it made me so angry that they were investigating me.
Even more suspicious.
As I get older, I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, I was angry at the time, but I'm glad that they cared enough to check into it.
It's about being involved. Earlier, John was talking about, supervision. It's about being involved. It's knowing who your kids are hanging out with. It's knowing their parents. That's really important. I mean, there's been recent stories, I'm sure you all see it in the news, where parents are having these house parties and they're providing the alcohol and they think it's fine because as long as it's happening under their roof, it's okay. Well, I'll be honest with you, if my kid was involved in that, I'd be very upset with that other parent.
That was happening in the condo above us in Panama City.
Yeah, I mean,
the police
it happens
got
all the
called on
time.
that one.
There's also this is another thing for parents really to be aware of with adolescents. Kids are having what's called skittle parties, and they literally are raiding their parents, grandparents, drug cabinets, and a lot of times you have a procedure done. They prescribe a 30-day dosage of Lortab, and you only need it for 2 days. Well, you've got them kind of stockpiled and in your medicine cabinet, not thinking anything about it, and you've forgotten about them. Well, these kids are pretty resourceful. They go in, they take whatever their parent has, and they were a grandparent, they're going and visiting grandma, like, hey, grandma, let me go to the bathroom, grabbing stuff, and they go to these parties, and literally everybody puts their different pills into a bowl, and you take a handful, and that's it. And it's extremely dangerous. People are dying. Kids are dying. Adults do it as well. I mean, they're dying from this. They're mixing it with alcohol. They don't even know what it is that they're mixing together that could have an adverse effect. So it's very, very scary. So I say again, it's important to know who are your kids hanging out with, who, are their parents, and checking up on them. I'm like you. I'm so glad my parents were what I viewed as strict back in the day, because they definitely helped me, because someone's going to teach your kids about drugs. Would you rather it be you or someone you don't know?
We've still got a lot of stuff we haven't talked about, but we're running out of time.
Okay.
The good news is people can call and talk to you and get some free information from you and find out where things stand.
Yes. We have an office actually in Jacksonville. A lot of people think that we're only in Birmingham, but we have an outpatient office in Jacksonville. That number is 256-237-4209. We take calls 24 hours a day. We can do emergency consultation service where we can do a consult on site, whether it be in the jail, the hospital, in any type of business. We can help get people these services, even if they just have questions. It's what we do. It's one thing we specialized in for over 30 years.
Awesome.
We're the largest provider in the Southeast. There's a reason for that. Bradford's very good at what we do. We provide quality treatment at an affordable price. We work with people. We want to see them get help. We want their families to get help, and we want to see that happens.
All right. Well, if you think you might need some questions answered, give Amanda a call. Thank you very much for being on the show with us.
Thank you for having me.
And we will be right back with our Crazy Criminal of the Week and the Crime Stoppers segment.
Congratulations to Calhoun County's Crime Stoppers and the Most Wanted program that airs on the TV all the time, and for being on the air for 10 years, and also for arresting over 3,000 people. Great job, guys.
Looking for a new or used vehicle? AOD Federal Credit Union can help. We offer low interest rates and financing terms to work with your budget. We can save you time and money, whether it's at one of our convenient office locations or through one of our participating dealers. Visit an office, call, or head to AODFCU.com to get your best deal now. Low auto loan rates, always at AOD Federal Credit Union. Certain restrictions may apply. To obtain additional details and cost information, call 1-800-637-0299 or visit AODFCU.com. Federally insured by the NCUA.
And now it's time for the Crime Stoppers segment of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Between June 21st and June 22nd, this gold 1997 Toyota Camry was broken into while parked at a residence on McIntosh Road in Oxford. A firearm was taken out of the vehicle. On June 21st, an apartment on Choccolocca Road in Anniston was broken into. A laptop computer and 2 televisions were stolen here. On June 20th, a socket set and weed eater were stolen from this residence on Choccolocca Road in Anniston. And on June 18th, this residence on Peaks Hill Road in Ohatchee was broken into. A lawnmower and weed eater were stolen here. If you have any information, we want your information, not your name. Call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
The Crazy Criminal of the Week is sponsored by Systems by Design. Simply Smart Security. Find out how they can protect your home or business at systemsbydesign.org.
All right, congratulations to Alfred Shropshire III, 49-year-old man who was recently named the Salesperson of the Month at the Mazda dealership where he works.
Yay, for him. Congratulations.
They gave him a nice plaque.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he took it with him when he burglarized someone's home and left it in the home. So the homeowner comes home, the TV's gone, all this other electronic stuff is gone, but here's this nice plaque for Salesperson of the Month from the Mazda dealership down the road. It wasn't too hard to figure that one out.
I almost hope that they went down to the Mazda dealership and pretended to need a car and spent a lot of time test driving them and going like, so where's my TV?
By the way, this man was already being monitored by the local authorities, so he had to know that they were going to know where he'd been. But my thought here is all the other salespeople at that Mazda dealership, if they lost to him,
yeah,
you might want to find another line of work, okay?
Wow.
You are not the greatest salesperson in the world.
Well, Mazdas, I mean, after all.
I'll never buy another one. We're not going to get into that. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, let's not do that.
That's going to wrap up this week's episode of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup or in a Mazda.
In a Mazda.
Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Attention Alabama, a stop payment notice has been issued on all vehicles in your area. Don't make another payment on your current car. Bring your vehicle directly to the Kia stores. Because right now, you get $5,000 minimum for any trade towards the purchase of any select new Kia in stock. Drive home a new 2014 Kia Soul or a 2014 Kia Rio for just $111 per month. Or drive home 2 for $222. Plus, if you have a job bringing home $350 per week, we want to approve your credit. Only at the Kia stores.
Nobody beats a Kia store deal. Nobody.